Hi and welcome to this DCP web tutorial. In today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to install Mozilla Thunderbird email client on Windows 8. This same procedure can be used to install Thunderbird email client on Windows 7 as well. I'm also going to show you how to set up a POP3 email account using SSL encryption and also create a custom email signature, so when you send out emails you'll have your own signature, so you don't have to keep repeating the information in your email, so it'll automatically set itself up every time you compose an email. I'm also going to show you how to manage your emails using Thunderbird, so there's quite a few things we're going to go through. The first thing we need to do is download the actual email application, and we can do that by going to Google and typing in Mozilla Thunderbird. And when we type that in, we're going to get this software here, this software we can download. So I'm going to click on this first link here, and I'm going to click on this green button to download the application. I'm just going to save this. So I've actually already downloaded it once before, but I guess we'll just wait for this one to download as well, and I'll install it with this new download. So the reason why I use Thunderbird to manage my emails, it saves me a lot of time in my business. I have many email accounts that I need to manage, and even if you only have one email account to manage, using Thunderbird will save you time. It will allow you to check your emails. It will you can even configure it to check new emails automatically, so it will download them to your computer, and you can send and receive from your computer, so you don't have to keep logging into an online webmail application. So this saves me quite a lot of time in my business when I'm sending and receiving emails constantly through the day. So the application is downloaded. I'm going to click on it to start the install. And I'm just going to basically go through the installation in its default. So select standard, use Thunderbird as my default mail application. We'll leave that selected, and it's pretty basic to install, and it's going to ask me to launch Thunderbird. Now I'm going to click finish. So this is the actual application itself, and if you install it, sometimes when you install Thunderbird, it's going to have a little pop-up window that appears, and it's asking if you want to set up a new email account. That's not really the purpose of today's tutorial. I want to show you how to set up existing email accounts. So you can just click cancel. There's normally like two little buttons down at the bottom. One is just to say that I want to set up an existing email account that you already have. So you can click that option to follow this tutorial if that window does show. In this example here, when I've installed it, because I've installed it before, it's not showing me that particular window. So if we just quickly look at this website address, this is my company website address. It's called dcpweb.co.uk, and I have email address info@dcpweb.co.uk. So that's typically the email that I have to run my business. But I'm also, working on some other projects where I have different email accounts. So if you're running a business, you already have a website address, and you have an email, something like info@yourwebsiteaddress.com or .co.uk. then this is really the type of tutorial you want to be following to get the actual email account set up on Thunderbird. So in order for me to do that, I need to go back onto the internet, and I need to log into my email account temporarily just to get some information. So I'm going to go to something called webmail, and it's for a website called londonlogodesigners.co.uk. I'm still building that site, but I have an email account running now, and I want to set that email account up on this Thunderbird application. So when I log into webmail, normally if I wanted to check my email and it wasn't set up on Thunderbird, I would have to log into this email account and then click on one of these three applications, let's say Rancube for example, and I'll see all my emails in the inbox. And if I close the window, I'm going to have to re-log in again to check the emails, and it's a bit cumbersome having to manage your emails via an online application. Depends on the type of business you're running, but Thunderbird is going to make my life a lot more easier, and it should make your life a lot more easier when it comes to running emails for your business. So I'm just going to click this back button, And the reason why I really logged into here is to get to this config mail client. And inside of here I'm going to get various information, and really what I'm looking for is this secure SSL information here. This is a secure connection to this email account. So when I'm sending and receiving emails, it's done in a secure encrypted way. It's just so that it's a better way of setting up your emails on Thunderbird. There's non-secure here, but SSL is the better option out of the two. So if you don't have webmail running on your domain, you may have an email account on your website for your website or for your business, and you don't have this webmail login. It's typically provided when you got a cPanel account. Here you can see the cPanel. If you don't have that, you should contact your web hosting company or contact your developer and ask them for the secure SSL details for your email account so that you can follow this tutorial. So I've got this information up here now, and I'm going to also have Thunderbird open, and what I need to do is click on this little button in the top corner, and I'm going to go to options and then account settings, and in here I'm going to go to account and add mail account. And it's going to pop up and it's going to ask me what I want to call this email account, and the email is called info@londonlogodesigners.co.uk. This is the name, so when I send an email out, it will say whatever, when it's received at the other end, it will say this name in the email. So it's quite important you get this right. So in this example, I'm just going to call it Logo Designers, and then I need the email address. So this is the email address here. I'm just going to copy it and paste it across. And just make sure that if you ever copy and paste things, make sure there's no spaces before or after the email. And I need to put the password in. I have the password here. And always tick this option, remember the password. This will save you having to type it in every time. I'm going to click continue, and I'm just going to put this other password in. Typically that second password you won't need to put it in. It's because my website is currently password protected, is why it asked me for that second username and password. So you won't really see that, so don't worry about that too much. This is what you're going to see right here. And what Thunderbird has tried to do is try to configure this email account by itself, and to be honest, it's got it wrong. So I'm going to explain to you how you fix all of this. So the first thing I want to do is tick this POP3. I want it to be a POP3 email account. There's two types here, there's IMAP and POP3. Typically I use POP3. If you're not too sure which one to use, or you want to find out more information about the two different types here, then I suggest you do a bit of Googling on it. But typically, I use POP3 accounts. IMAP is where you want to sync your desktop emails with your online emails, but I prefer to keep all my emails stored locally, so I select POP3 here. I'm going to click on manual config because some of these settings in here are not correct. So when I click on manual configuration, it's going to pop up this window, and some of this information is just not right. So I'm going to explain what we need to do here. Here it says username and here it just says info, but really it needs to be the whole email address here. So I'm going to copy this and paste it into here. It needs to be the full email address. So that was one problem that needs to be fixed. The next one is this incoming mail server. So try to guess what the incoming mail server is, and this is not correct either. So what we need to do here is put in this mail server. This is the correct one for the SSL encryption. Really it's found this mail server here, which is for non-SSL, so this is not really the right one. It's actually this one here, and it says the POP3 is on port 995, so I need to make sure I set that correctly. 995, and then this is the outgoing server, which is exactly the same as the incoming server, this host name. So I'm going to paste this one into here as well, and I need to set the SMTP port to 465, and this is correct here, and I need to select normal password here on these two, and I can click retest just to make sure, and everything seems to be fine. It didn't throw any errors at all, so this seems to be all okay. I'm going to click done, and I just need to do one thing here. You won't need to do this, but this should be fine. So I'm just going to click OK, and here you can see my email account, and I'm going to click on this drop down arrow. I can click on the button, but normally I click on the drop down arrow and I request emails for this email account, and it's going to download all of these emails. So these are just some supplier emails and client emails. These are just some demo examples that I sent. So because the next thing that I really want to show you is how you're going to actually manage these emails, because there's no point in leaving all your emails in one inbox. If you do that, and if you've got hundreds and hundreds of emails in it, it's going to get messy over a period of time. You're going to find it really difficult to find the emails. So there's more savvy ways of managing your emails in this client. I can really close this window now. I don't need this Firefox anymore. I'm just going to enlarge this a bit more. So here we can see a few bits of information. We can see the subject, we can see who it's from, and we can see the date. And these are just demo emails that I've sent, but if I click on this first email, whatever was written in that email is going to get displayed down here. And the second one and the third one is pretty much the same thing written in there. Just the supplier one say this is a sample from a supplier. But you'd expect a proper email in here from your client or your supplier. I've only sent these here as a demo. And if you can see, as I'm clicking on them, they're unbolding, so they're no longer bold. And these are the ones that I've read, you could say. And the ones that are bold have not been checked before, have not been checked at all. And if for any reason you want to make it bold again, as if you've not checked it, just for your own, I don't know, if you close this application down, you want to come back and you need to remind yourself to check that email, you can right click on it and then go to mark and as unread, and when you do that, it's going to go bold again. So that's just a nice little tip there. Sometimes I do that, so if I've read all of these emails and I know that this one, and these two are things that I need to chase up on, I don't know, I'm going to pop out for 10 minutes to a meeting and come back, then I can make these bold, so when I come back, if I close this down, and when I come back and open up the email again and check the inbox, I can see that they're bold again. So that's a useful little tip. Now the next thing I want to do is show you how to create folders and how to manage the emails. That's quite important. And after we do that, I'm going to show you how you can reply to these emails quite easily and how we're going to create a custom signature. So in order to manage these emails, really you can think we've got two types of emails coming in. We've got client emails, so this is London logo designer, so these may be 5 clients requesting logo design, and these are 5 suppliers. So suppliers could be, you know, if you're running a business and you're buying product or you're buying stock or anything like that, you may have some supply emails here as well. So in this example, I'm going to right click on this inbox and I'm going to say create a new folder, and I'm going to call this folder clients. And when you can see this little blue arrow here, when I did that, it created this little blue arrow. Well, it turns blue when you hover over it, and when I click on that, it expands and it shows this folder called clients. I'm going to right click and create another folder. I'm going to call it suppliers. So now we've got these two little folders, and you can think of these as the top level folders. Normally I don't store emails in here. I'm going to create another folder in underneath this client one. So I'm going to right click on the client and create a subfolder, and I'm going to call it client 01. Now normally you would call this the company name, the client's name. I'm just calling it client 01 because this is what this particular email has been called, but if it's called ABC company, then that's what you would put in here. And I'm going to say create this folder, and then you can see another little arrow and that will pop down, and I can create another subfolder called client 02, and I can keep doing this until I've got all of the different client, a separate folder for each one of my clients. Because typically when you're running your business, you're not going to get one email from this one client, you're going to get many emails from this one client. So once you've read the email and you've replied to it, you can take this email and you can drag and drop it into this box here, and you know that it's been dealt with now, so you're almost cleaning your inbox. That's quite important. I find that quite important, that as and when I've dealt with an email, I archive it away. That just it gets it out of my way. I know that I've dealt with it. I don't have to think about it. But in the future, if I need to go back and say, okay, let's go and look at what emails I sent to client 01, then I can easily click on the folder and find that email and read it again if I need to reply to it or do something else. And you're going to get many emails coming backwards and forwards, so you can keep dragging and dropping them into here. And it keeps your inbox real tidy. And normally I have no more than like 20-25 emails in here, but I may have literally thousands of emails in all of these suppliers and clients down in here. Normally I have about 40 or 50 clients listed here where I'm doing work with. So with suppliers we can do the same thing. We can right click on suppliers and create a new folder and call it, I'm going to call this one supplier 01, and I'll create another folder called supplier 02, supplier 03, and we'll do one more, supplier 04. So with the supplier emails that come in, I can take those and drag and drop them in here, and if I've purchased a product, I've got a nice way of archive in it, and I can come back and say later, okay, I bought X, Y, and Z from this client, this supplier, and I can read that email later. It's quite important to have that information in storage. Let's call it an archive. So I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop some of these emails in here as if I've read them already. I've got a client 4 here, so I need to create another folder. In fact, I'm going to leave this one out for the minute, but I'm going to create the folder anyway. I'm not going to move it. And you may think it's taking time to create all of these folders and organize all of this, but later on down the line, you know, you're going to find this very useful. It's going to become a nice archive, and it's going to be easy for you to get to your clients. And these will always be listed in alphabetical order, so you'll be able to easily go down the list and find the client and check what happened on a particular project. And you can create subfolders underneath here as well. So if this was a client and you had many projects going with that particular client on doing different jobs, you could easily right click on this folder and create another subfolder if you really wanted to, just to get it a bit more organized if you're running maybe 2 or 3 different projects, or you've got, you know, different supply chains. So that's another way of thinking about it. So we actually need one more here. I'm going to get rid of this client 04, and we've got this client email file. I'm going to keep this one, and I'm going to move suppliers. I'm just going to leave 2 left in here, these 2. So I've left these 2 emails in here because we're going to reply to them as if they were a client requesting something, and we're going to reply to it. And I'm going to show you a few little tricks that we can do to make your life a little bit easier. So I'm going to click reply, and when I click reply, you can see the mouse cursor is here, so that's good. And when we reply, it's always going to tell us, it's always going to have the email below, so we really want the mouse cursor to be here, because when we start typing our email, we want the content to be above, the new content to be above, and what they wrote will sit below it. So that kind of makes sense. If I were to say, hi, thanks for contacting me about logo design, I will call you tomorrow, something like that. That's what I want to send to the client. And I might write in here, regards Joe, I'm just going to make this name up, Joe Blog, and then I'm going to type in a phone number. This is just a made up phone number, and I might even have to put my address in there, so my website address. So when I wrote that email, really disregards Joe Blogs, the person's name. You might even put in here, underneath here, something like manager. This information here, every time you write an email, you don't want to have to keep retyping this information. We can call this the signature. This is really what it is. It's a signature. And Thunderbird allows you to automate this part of the email. So every time you reply to an email, this part will be written for you automatically. So there's a way of doing this, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. But I'm going to just copy this. I'm going to send this email anyway, so let's send it. So the email's been sent back to this particular client. It was a test email, so it's really come back to me, but it's a demo. So imagine if we sent that back to the client. And I'm just going to open up Notepad. I'm just going to paste this information, this regards Joe Blogs manager, the phone number and the website address. I'm going to paste that into Notepad. And if we just check here, I've got a folder here. I made this folder on my desktop. It's called Signature. I'm going to move this to a more suitable place in a minute, but just for a demo, I'll put this folder on my desktop. It's called Signature. So here you can see the folder. Let's just close that. I'm going to open this folder. Here it is. And I'm just going to go to File, Save, and I'm going to open this Signature folder, and I'm going to call this text file Signature and save it. So now that this txt file is saved into this folder, it's quite important. And if you notice, when you're running XP or Windows 8, the file extension normally doesn't show, so it will just say signature on its own. It won't say .txt, and you need it to say .txt. There's a reason for it. I'll explain that as we go along, because you're going to need to change this extension. You can't change it unless you can see this .txt, and we need to change it into .html, and I'll explain why we need to do that. But in order to get this .txt showing, let's just close this folder. So you need to open the folder. You create this signature. It's just a normal text file, txt file. On every Windows computer you can create these little txt files. They're called Notepad files. So typically you can right click in the folder and go to new, and you'll see text document here, and that's a Notepad file basically. So now that I have this little signature in here, in order to get this .txt showing, I need to click on this drop down arrow, and then let's work this out. I need to, let's see, sorry, then I need to click on this view tab right here. I need to click on view, and I need to go to options. Let's just try that one more time. Maybe this is a bit easier. So let's just that was a bit long-winded. Let's open the folder, click on view, and then click on options, and then click on change folder and search options. And inside here, this window is going to pop open. You need to go to view, this view tab, and in here you need to untick this option, hide extensions for known file types. If it's ticked and I apply it, it's going to hide the extension. You're not going to see it, and you need to see it. So you need to untick it and click apply, and then click OK, and then you'll see the extension. That's quite important. You're going to need that. So in Thunderbird we can create these custom signatures, and we're going to do that now. So I'm going to open up this signature, and what I'm going to do is a few little things here. We're going to do a little bit of coding here, but you can just follow these basic instructions. Not too difficult to do. It's quite easy, and you'll see why we're doing this in a moment. So underneath in the name, I want to make this name bold. So the way to do that is I'm going to put this open and close bracket, and I'm going to type in B for bold. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go to the end of the name and put the B for bold, but then I'm going to put a backslash there, and that just tells the software to start the bold here and to finish it here. So anything in between here is going to be bold, the Joe Blogs name. That will really be your name there. And the word manager, I'm not going to make that bold. The telephone number can stay as it is. If you want to put a mobile underneath there, you could do that as well, I guess. You know, a lot of people using mobiles, so there's probably one too many digits in here. There we go. This is like UK format phone numbers. So we have this default regards, we have the name in bold, we have the manager, the person's status in the company, we could say, 2 telephone numbers, and the website address. Now with the website address we have to do a bit more coding here. to make it clickable. You don't have to, but let's, if we're going to do this, let's do it properly. When this signature is received in the email, you want the user to be able to click on the website address, and it will open the web browser and take them straight to the website. So to do this, if I remember correctly, it's been a little while, we need to, in fact I might need to check this. Let's see, let me just check this quickly. Oops. I should know how to do this, but my mind's gone a bit blank. Okay. Let me just double check that again. Okay. So we type this open bracket, A for anchor, then href. This is the reference to where we want to open up, what link we want to open up. And we need to put in HTTP here. You don't have to do this part, but if you don't have a website, then you don't really need this part of the signature. But let's show you how to do this anyway. It won't hurt. And then we need to close this, and then in here we need to type in again. It seems a bit strange, but we need to take this link here and repeat it here, www.londonlogodesigners.com, and at the end we need to close it. In fact, we need to close it this way. This is wrong here. It should be like this. So this should be correct. We're going to test it now. So I'm going to close it, and to test it I need to right click on this and click rename. I need to change it to .html. It's going to ask me, you sure you want to change it? And I'm going to say yes. And then I'm going to open it with Firefox here. Okay, so it's all written on one line, so that's no good. So we need to put a bit more code in here. The information's right. You can see Joe Bloggs is bold, and then you've got the manager's name, you've got the 2 phone numbers, but it's all on one line, so we need to do a few more fixes in here quickly. So I'm going to right click on it, open it with need to open it with Notepad again. Can't really do that from here. Let's just right click on it, rename it again to TXT, and we accept that. I'm going to open up the TXT. What we need to do here is put in some breaks. So we need 2 breaks here. We need 1 break here. That's okay. Then we're going to need 2 breaks here. We're going to need 1 break and then 1 break. And these are like carriage returns really. You won't see this in the signature because it's a part of the coding. Now in theory, if I save it and change this to HTML again, we can open it in Firefox. Here we can see it's done correctly now. So we've got the regards, Joe Bloggs, manager, and we've got the spacing correctly. So it's quite important that you put those breaks in there. Let's just have a look at that again quickly. You need to put these breaks in there, so don't forget to do that, or the signature won't look right. But that's it, it's working correctly. So I'm just going to change this one more time to .html. So I've renamed it signature.html. Okay, I know that was a bit long, but we got there in the end. Now this folder, I want to try and store it somewhere where I can access it, where it's not really going to need to be moved or it's going to be changed or anything like that. And typically you should store it in your My Documents. This is probably the best place to store it, in My Documents. So I'm going to drag that folder and put it into My Documents. Signature is here. And this is really where I want it to be stored permanently. So I'm not going to mess around with it. It's here. If I need to change it, it's here. Don't really want to leave it on the desktop. It's not the best place to save it. So do try and save it into your My Documents, your document section here on your computer. Just drag the folder into there and you'll have the file in here. That's quite important. Now let's try this. To get this signature working, I'm going to click on this little tab. I'm going to go to options. I'm going to go to mail, or sorry, account settings here. And I'm going to click on, let's have a look, let's find it. In one of these options, we'll have the signature. You have to actually click on the email right at the top here. So it's the email address you click on in order to get to the signature right here. So it says attach the signature from a file instead, text, HTML or image. So I'm going to click this option here, tick this option. I'm going to say choose file, and I'm going to go to My Documents. I'm going to go to signature, and I'm going to click on this signature, and it's just showing me here on the side. I'm going to click open, and I'm going to click OK. Now when I reply to an email, let's just get this open a bit more. It's all squashed. Now if I were to reply to this client email number 5 again, when I reply to it here, you can see the signature is already written for me. It's pre-written down here. This is not quite right though. It's puts it in the wrong place. Yeah. So we need to fix this. It's composing the email below. We want to compose it above here. So there's a setting that's wrong. So let's try and fix that. So I'm going to go back to options, account settings, and in here, let's see if we can do this. So here it says automatically quote original message when replying, then start my reply above the quote and place my signature below the quote. We don't want to. We want to place the signature below my reply above the quote. So it has to be this second option here. That's what needs to be selected. Let's try that again. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to click right, or let's just click reply. Now the signature is sitting above the original email. There's one other thing we can do. If we put another blank space here, it will automatically add a blank space here when we compose the email. So there'll always be this one blank space. We really want that one blank space there. So we need to fix the signature slightly. It's just one little quick fix. I'm a bit fussy like that, because when we compose the email, this line of text is sitting right up against the email there. I don't really like that. So I'm going to put this extra blank space in there in the signature. So I'm going to go back to the signature. It's in my documents. Here's the signature. I'm going to change it to TXT so I can edit it. I'm going to open it, and I'm going to put a break line here. In fact, I'll put 2 break lines. Let's just put two of them right here after the website address. That's where we want them. I'm going to save it. And change it back to HTML. Rename it back to HTML. And now when I reply, there's the space that I want. that's pretty good. So we managed to write this custom signature. If I send this email, if I were to send this email now, when they receive it, they'll be able to click on this website address, and it will open up the web browser, and they'll be able to see whatever website address is in here, whichever website is running. So I'm not going to demo that right now, but it's an active link. If I click on it, I can see it's a link here. So that's pretty good. I'm going to close this. I just want to show you a few other things. If you notice, when I reply to this email, I've got this purple arrow. This is just telling me that it's been replied to. And this one here, nothing's been done with it, although it's been read because it's not bold anymore. If I right click on it and go to mark as unread, as if it was unread, it will be bold. When I click on it and actually read it, it goes unbold. But if there's no arrow here, it means that nothing's been done to it, it's not been replied to. So that's quite important to know. That's how you remember really that you've done something with this email. Because I've replied to it, really I could go and archive it now. I've sent the email, I know I've done something to it, so I can forget about it for a minute. And when I did send that email, it sits in this sent folder here, you see? So if I click on this sent folder, I can see, look, here's client email 5, and I wrote an email back to him already. You can see my signature in here. I can even click on the link here, you can see that. So if I go back to client, you can see the purple arrow there saying that it's been replied to, and that is, you can find that in my sent folder here. I'm going to go back to the inbox. There's a couple other things I want to show you. I'm going to click on this little tab here. I'm going to go to options and account settings, and in server settings there's a few options here that you might want to check off and just make sure they're done quickly. I'll just explain them. So when you load up this application, when you first load it up, if you tick this option, it's going to check for new messages at startup, and it's going to check for new messages every 10 minutes and automatically download new messages. Fetch headers only, you should leave this unticked because you want to download the whole email. You just don't want to download part of it, just the whole email. Leave messages on server for at most 14 days or until I delete them. So really what this means is, remember earlier on this tutorial I logged into my webmail to get the webmail settings, to get the correct settings for the configuration of this email account. When I log into that webmail account, it's really all the emails are getting sent to that particular email address. So they're not getting sent directly to Thunderbird, they're getting sent to the email, and Thunderbird is checking that account and downloading them. And what Thunderbird, you can get it to set up, what you can get it to do is to set up and leave messages on the server, so it will leave them on the actual hosting server for the email for up to 14 days. So it's really like a 2-week archive on the server, and after 2 weeks it will start to delete the older emails. And this helps to manage your inbox on the internet. If you have a certain amount of disk space on the internet, you may not have an infinite amount of space there. It may be 100 megabytes, 50 megabytes, or even a gig. 1 gigabyte could be loads of space, but you want to manage those emails. You don't want to just keep infinite copy there. You may want to, of every single email that you receive, you may want to keep a copy on the server, then you should untick this option. You don't want this option, but typically I leave it on. And if I delete the emails, if I delete something, or if I move it from the inbox to the client folder, Thunderbird will send a message and it will delete it from the actual email account running on the server. So this is a nice way to manage the email accounts on your server via Thunderbird, and it will stop your inbox from getting full up. It will stop it from getting clogged and getting quite messy. You might as well manage all your emails in one place. So that's quite important for me. It really depends on your own preference, really. So that's really about it. Let's just see if there's anything I've missed. We've got sent items here. We've got deleted items. If I were to delete something, let's delete this email. You'll see that that's going to be in this deleted items here. And you can go ahead and set up more email accounts as well. In my system, maybe I'll have like 10 email accounts running here, and each one will have its own inbox, and each one will have its own client section and suppliers, because I run a few different projects, a few different businesses, and I need multiple email accounts running. Apart from that, you know, there's a few other things like address book here. I won't worry about chat for now, this is not really part of this tutorial, but you've got your address book here, and any emails that you send out. So if you apply to an email, those get stored in the address book, so if you need to get hold of an email, then you can always find them in the address book as well. That's a useful feature. I'm going to close this signature folder down, we don't need that anymore. But in essence, this tutorial is showing you how to configure your email account and then create subfolders to manage your inbox. So you've got all of your different client emails in separate folders. These will be the proper company names here for your clients and your suppliers. And this will keep your inbox really clean. You can see right now it's actually absolutely empty, but typically I have maybe 10-15 emails in here at one time. And I just manage them and do it this way. That stops me from having 500 emails in my inbox, which is not really a savvy way of managing them. There's a lot more features on Thunderbird that I've not really explained, and I'm going to do another tutorial with more advanced features, and I'm going to show you how to set up things like Gmail, Yahoo Mail and other type of email addresses into Thunderbird. It's not only POP3 email accounts or emails with for your business. You can set up Yahoo, Hotmail, AOL, a lot of different other email accounts. This tutorial was based on setting up a POP3 account using SSL encryption. That was the main thing, and showing you how to manage your clients and your supplier emails, and also how to create that custom signature, this signature here. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you're finding any difficulties, if you're having any problems and you're not able to get this working correctly, I'm going to be uploading this video to YouTube. I'm also going to have it on my Facebook and my Google Plus pages. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask questions on those websites, and I'll try and help you along the way. Okay, I look forward to seeing you on the next tutorial, and on the next tutorial I'll be going through some more advanced features of Thunderbird, how you can search for emails in your inbox quickly. There's certain features like the search features here as well, and there's a lot of other things we can do as well, but that's all for this tutorial.